We've been particularly keen to ask lay people what they understand by gratitude and not just use the definitions of philosophers and psychologists.
I'm definitely very grateful for all the little things in life. Things that people wouldn't even think twice about, like having a cup of tea in the morning, having a warm bed.
You know, I'm just grateful that I'm still alive. I lost friends to gang crime, I've lost friends to knives. I'm grateful that wasn't me, because I was in a low environment like that as well. I hit my rock bottom.
I just can't explain to people how it makes you feel. And everybody's so nice.
You don't realise who's out there and what they can provide.
We are grateful to every single one of them, not just the donor family.
The worst day of my life was also the best day of my life, and the worst thing that ever happened to me, losing my leg, was the best thing. And it's gratitude that's allowed me to see the gain in it.
We at the Jubilee Centre for Character and Virtues at the University of Birmingham have highlighted gratitude in our research, both as a specific research project called An Attitude for Gratitude, and also by choosing Gratitude Britain as a kind of an umbrella label for all our research activities in the years 2012 to 2015. So we think gratitude is an enormously important topic of research, both for social scientists and philosophers. For social scientists, it's important because a strong association has been found between gratitude and a number of positive variables like subjective well-being or happiness. So grateful people are in general happy people. And for philosophers, it's important because gratitude can be seen as a moral virtue, and as such, it's intrinsically important, it's valuable for the well-rounded, flourishing life.
Our own research at the Jubilee Centre has shown that gratitude is associated with increased levels of well-being and even job satisfaction as well. And over and above these instrumental benefits like life satisfaction, gratitude is good for the individual, so it has intrinsic worth and can actually contribute to human flourishing.
We're really interested in the value that people place on gratitude and how that relates to the value they place on other virtues and values, such as honesty, kindness, self-control, fairness, courage.
When Maisie was born, it was the best day of our lives. Everything seemed fine, she was absolutely perfect. And then we noticed all the time that she was just itchy. She'd literally just rip her skin to pieces, bleeding. We just had about 12 months really of tests and trying to get to the bottom of exactly what it was.
When we heard she was going to have a transplant, it was very upsetting. But at the time, it was some way off. They were talking about in her teens or late teens. So we didn't think it was going to come as quickly as it did.
Even though you know that somebody somewhere has had to make that awful decision to donate, you become quite selfish at that point. We just wanted to keep her alive.
You're reliant on someone else's life being thrown into disarray or a family because they've lost someone, and you are seeking to gain from that, and it's a horrible feeling. But I think you just get so. She's our life. So it was like you're almost pleading, please, but then it's only afterwards that you look back and you think, that poor family. I'd love them to see her now. We've written to them, we've expressed our gratitude to them. I just wanted to let them know what they'd done for us, really.
Whilst gratitude might be viewed predominantly as positive, actually it might coincide with some negative features and emotions. So take for an example, you receive a benefit from somebody else, but you also feel some sense of obligation that you need to repay this benefit. And that's not very hard to imagine. Actually, in a prototype analysis of gratitude that was carried out at the University of Birmingham by the Jubilee Centre, some of the associations with gratitude included negative emotions such as indebtedness, obligation, guilt, and even awkwardness and embarrassment. And interestingly, in our UK sample, there was much higher level of negative associations picked out than in a comparative US study, which suggests that there might be some cross-cultural differences in the way that gratitude is perceived.
I made a list of all the nurses that were there when Maisie was there, because I didn't want to forget any one of them, because they played such a huge part in Maisie's story, really. So I've got on my phone all the names of the nurses, the play worker there, the lady that used to serve dinners. We're grateful to every single one of them.
These are a group of people who get the phone calls in the middle of the night to come out and perform operations, and we're quite lucky with one, Christina, who came from Barcelona. And subsequently the following year we took Maisie on holiday near to Barcelona, and Christina heard about this and gave us her phone details and email address and basically said, I know you're going to be concerned on your first holiday with her post-transplant. If you have any concerns or if you need anything, phone me.
She doesn't have to do that. She's finished with us now. Maisie's better, but it's the fact that she's still, they still go out of their way, to keep in touch with us and just to be there for you. It's like, I just can't believe that people would be that kind, really.
Our intuition at the Jubilee Centre is that people are grateful even when people are just doing their job, doing their duty. And our empirical work has borne that out. Just then, we heard Maisie's mother talking about how grateful she was to the nurses, to the play workers, to the lady who made the dinners. So people definitely are grateful when folks just are doing their job. But the interesting thing, of course, is that Maisie's parents are grateful to Christina, who they felt went much further than she had to do in the line of her duty. So I think what we can say is that, yes, people are grateful to folks who are just doing their job, but they may be especially moved in cases where they feel that people went the extra mile.
We've all met some amazing people. Maisie's been given some brilliant opportunities. The transplant games, we didn't even know that existed. Maisie's part of the Birmingham Children's Hospital team.
I think I got a bronze for the long jump, and I got this silver one here for my swimming, and I came second in the breaststroke.
They go out of their way. They're so good with the kids. They're just absolutely brilliant. They don't have to do that. They don't have children that have had transplants, but they do it every year.
We could have just got on with our lives with a healthy child, and you don't realise until something actually happens to you who's out there and what they can provide and why they provide it.
It just amazes you, really, how kind people are. The gratitude continues way beyond that transplant.
I thank you for all that you've done, for not just me, but everyone. I thank you for the freedom you've given, so that my family and me can keep on living. I am thankful for your sacrifice, but I weep for a great waste of life. Although yours was not entirely wasted, I have found out that I am related to you, a hero, that's how you're known, for the great brave fight in the harsh war zone. I thank you for what I've become, because of you, the valiant one. Nowadays, for someone of my age, you can't possibly begin to imagine what it would be like to live in those sort of conditions and have to have your family members be sent away to fight. Young people of my age would be sent out to go on the front line, and it's completely unimaginable. I wrote a letter to the unknown soldier because I wanted to give thanks to all the servicemen and women that have fought for us in both World Wars, especially the First World War. I feel I have to be grateful for the people because they've literally sacrificed everything. We're just really thankful that I'm here today because of them and that we're able to live freely.
When thinking about what gratitude is, the most common scenario that might come into your mind is a beneficiary receiving a benefit from a benefactor, and that benefactor being a family member, a friend, or a work colleague perhaps. In more unusual cases, you might be grateful to a kind stranger. However, there could be cases where you could be grateful to an unknown benefactor. So philosopher and sociologist George Simmel said that you could be grateful to people who you've never even met before, and that could be a historical figure, a painter, or soldier, servicemen, servicewomen. And whilst it's hard to say that these people have tried to benefit you in particular, the benefits are so valuable and so impactful that you can be grateful for them years later.
We do live out in the middle of nowhere. All 4 of my children have grown up here on the croft that I was born on. It's an absolute brilliant place. It's a very remote location and we've got lovely mountains close by. We've never had mains electricity, mains water. We have to work very hard here to make ends meet and to make things successful. We have to battle with the weather, we have to battle with the lack of services. This is a shed that we've sort of 3/4 filled so far. We'll have to carry on with our log gathering endeavours until it's full, and hopefully it'll do us through the winter, because when the snow does come, it could be under snow for 4 months quite easily. We feel very grateful for the place that we've ended up living. All our hard work has come to fruition. I try not to ever look at the negative. I enjoy the weather no matter what it's throwing at us. If you get a lot of rain, we get good lush grass, and it means that I don't have to buy as much horse food in the winter. And the fatter the horses are when they go into the winter, the better they fare throughout the winter, and the less I have to feed them. So the rain is very good for the grass. Whenever we have a good downpour in the summer, I know fine that's when the trout will come hammering up the river, so you'll eat trout for dinner that night. It doesn't matter if it's snowing, blowing a gale, it's just beautiful. I think we all appreciate, myself, my wife and my children.
Well, I'm very grateful for where I live, and that's probably the biggest thing for me, is the fact that the children have got the space to just be free to do as they please and enjoy having the open space and the freedom. I think we're all very grateful for the small things in life. Hey guys?
Yeah.
You grateful? Yeah. No, I think it's all the little things that matter. It's all the wee things, and then they make up the big picture of being here and being grateful for all the things we've got, eh?
Must gratitude always involve a particular benefactor? Ian and Sasha seem to have a general appreciation rather than a targeted gratitude towards a particular benefactor, such as God, for instance. And it seems that they have cultivated a way of seeing the world through an appreciative lens. And they seem to be grateful for all that nature might throw at them up there in the croft.
I feel very lucky to have lived all my life in this location. I've milked cows in this barn here ever since I was 4 or 5 years old. Now I've passed the job on to my boy Ewan.
When I go to my friend's house, he lives in Tormach. They've all got electricity and everything, and he doesn't realise he's got a lot. But then I suppose I don't really realise that I've got a lot that other children don't have. Like, I've got my cows and my horses and wide open space that I can go and have fun in whenever I want. I don't think I need anything else. I think I've got everything that I want.
The children naturally feel happy with the things that we do. They don't exhibit any feelings of feeling like they're hard done by. They're generally very happy children. Good boy.
Yeah, that's better.
Put the switches on there.
Generally, you come in at night, you've sat in front of your cosy warm fire, and I think it's a feeling that not many people nowadays actually get, and that's a really nice feeling.
I don't feel I actually have to chase any more goals in my life. I'm quite happy. I'm quite content. Even when things are a bit down, all my machines are broken down, the MOT's out on my Jeep, it's not important. I'm healthy, my kids are healthy, so what's not to be happy about?
We've all got good bits and bad bits about where we live. It's just different.
Research suggests that a focus on materialistic values can actually have negative effects on personal well-being, while gratitude, on the other hand, has the opposite effect. In youth in particular, materialism is related to anxiety, depression, and poorer academic attainment, whilst gratitude can predict higher grades, it can predict life satisfaction, as well as social integration, and lower levels of envy and depression. And the thought is that by focusing on what you do have rather than what you don't have, an individual can become to appreciate what's been termed the gifts of the moment. Our own research at the Jubilee Centre, looking at thank you films and thank you letters and assessing what are people grateful for. These letters and films have very few materialistic items in them. Instead, people are more grateful for their family, their friends, doctors, teachers, education, care, support. So when asked, what are you grateful for, it's the people rather than the things.
I joke and say that I went from managing director of an advertising agency to hippie overnight. I'd achieved a lot of my ambitions in terms of my salary and my position and responsibility, and I'd been given shares in the company and made a director, but I became massively disillusioned and awoke to the fact that the life I was living wasn't really me. So I was in Mexico. I had this intuition that it would help, so I ended up there, and there were about 300 people all living off the grid, as it were, and we took the horses into the river to wash them, and it just so happened that where I jumped into the water, there was a rock sticking out of the riverbed, which I hit and smashed my leg. As my leg came out of the water, there was a hole in my heel, and it was geysering blood. And, somebody fainted, and people screamed, and I said to them, "You've got to take me to hospital." 3 girls that took me and were looking after me begged the doctors who wanted to amputate straight away not to. And so I was having various treatments, but they were all very expensive and I didn't have any holiday insurance. So the girls emailed my friends back in England, who all raised ultimately £8,500 that paid for all those treatments. And so these 3 amazing women saved my life. The experience of being so totally helpless and so unbelievably looked after and cared for and loved, just, it broke a layer of armour that I didn't know was there until it was broken. And afterwards, I've been a different person ever since, because I can never go back to the way I was before that happened. What was transformative in terms of gratitude, what felt like an epiphany, was what the girls did for me when they raised the money. The way I describe it is that it felt like being drowned in a tsunami of unconditional love. And I can say, hand on heart, if I was back on that cliff now, knowing what I know now, I'd still jump. Because what I've gained, what I'm grateful for, the love, the connection, the realizations, the healing, the relationships that I've gained from losing my leg are worth way, 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 way more than my legs.
Within positive psychology, gratitude has largely been seen as a way of capitalising on or savouring positive events in one's life. And it's not difficult to see why that might be the case. But Chris, paradoxically there, talks about how he's grateful for something that happened, which at the time was the worst thing that had ever happened to him. And it's as if, by some strange sort of alchemy, people can somehow eventually be grateful for things that were extremely negative at the time. And in that sense, gratitude can be hugely powerful and redemptive.
I'm just grateful that I'm still alive. I've lost friends that didn't deserve to die. I've lost friends to gang crime, I've lost friends to knives. I'm grateful that wasn't me, because I was in a low environment like that as well. I hit my rock bottom. My dad left me 2 weeks after I was born. Growing up, not understanding my own mum because she was deaf. Being in an environment where I was physically getting abused by my stepdad and not able to speak out because I was living in fear. I was doing bad things for at least 5 years, to be honest, from the age of 9 all the way up to the age of 15. I found myself getting in gangs, finding myself losing friends, finding it just being in an environment where I shouldn't be in. When I started getting stabbed and I started finding myself in hospital, finding myself sitting in a cell thinking, why am I even here? Seeing my mum cry, seeing my family all upset and thinking, what's he doing? I never raised him up to be like that. No male wants to see his mum cry. And I think that's when I thought to myself, enough's enough. I can never express how bad my old lifestyle was, and I'll be grateful in a way because it's made me who I am today, but it's not something I would ever want to portray as something good or something positive, because all it ever brought was negative. The life that I've lived, the life that I had, the life that I wanted, wasn't the life. It wasn't bringing happiness to me. Now, for me to walk into a youth centre, or for me to walk into a school, or for me to walk into any environment with young people, and for me to create the smallest change is fantastic for me, because for me to make a change with one individual can have a ripple effect and change an individual, and it can continue. And I think for me, that is something that I'll be grateful for, because it's not something I thought I would do.
There is evidence that suggests that gratitude is important for forming and maintaining relationships. Gratitude can facilitate relationship building behaviours such as social affiliation and socially inclusive behaviours. Gratitude can also motivate people to help others beyond their immediate benefactor. And in this way it can fuel pro-social behaviours and this kind of upward spiral of giving, or what's been termed upstream reciprocity. More recently, gratitude has been associated with oxytocin, and oxytocin has been dubbed the hormone of connection. And the role of oxytocin here is that it's involved in bonding adults into important and meaningful relationships.
We took over a derelict building and have become a thriving community resource in one of the most deprived areas of Birmingham. POD does stand for Place of Dreams, and the local residents love that idea that this is a place of dreams, because they do say to us that this is where some of their dreams do come true. So it is a very needed resource in the heart of the community, which really supports everybody from 0 to 88 years old. It would be very easy in a community like this to become quite negative and quite self-destructive really, and think about why have other people got more than me, but it's about celebrating the good in your life, and then that makes you feel more positive.
I love the pod. You walk in, you know, and then all of a sudden you feel happy. It's just a wonderful place to be, and the staff are so good. They're lovely staff. They never stop, and they're always asking us what we'd like to do, to suggest outings. It's a wonderful place to come, and there's a lot of people here that do live on their own, and they come here, and it's a wonderful, exciting place, you know.
They do so much and they work so hard, and yeah, we get a lot out of it, of course. And we know we could pop in here anytime.
Anytime.
We couldn't praise them enough, the staff. We couldn't. Could we?
No.
Praise them enough.
It's nice to be appreciated.
It is quite nice to have the cards to show, and so the people who are linked to the pod can see that people are grateful for what happens here. That gratitude then helps them to help other people and to be more positive with other people. So I think there is that ripple effect that goes out. So if they feel happy with what they've done here and they feel positive and pleased, and they quite like that feeling, then they want to pass that on to other people, and other people can then feel that towards them, and I think that does work very well. I've not really thought of it as a two-way thing before.
There are two main psychological interventions to promote gratitude. One of them is the gratitude visit, which has been pioneered by Martin Seligman, who's widely regarded as the founder of positive psychology. And the other involves putting into practice the age-old wisdom of counting one's blessings. So in the gratitude visit, you write a letter of thanks to someone whom you've never thanked properly, and you go and deliver that letter and read it out to them. And of course, this not only is pleasurable for the person you're reading the letter out to, but it also boosts feelings of subjective well-being and happiness in the person who's reading out the testimonial, if you like. So there's a double benefit there. And that benefit obviously can last for upwards of a month even. Another intervention is counting one's blessings. And psychologists have encouraged people to keep a gratitude diary or a gratitude journal in which they note down things that went well that day, or things for which they're grateful. And this has been used across a wide variety of demographics. It's been used with people who have neuromuscular diseases, it's been used with people suffering mild to moderate depression, and people who have body dissatisfaction. And it's been shown that people keeping a gratitude journal are happier over the treatment period, and that they have higher incidence of positive emotion as well.
I am a gratitude practitioner. My daily practice now, and I do it throughout the day, is to get myself into a state of whole body gratitude and visualize through mantra who I wish to be. This feeling of knowing who I am and why I'm here and being grateful for my existence is what I'm trying to give people, because it's my experience that everything we need is within us. Everything we need to be happy, to cope with life, to answer the questions, to deal with situations is actually in there. Things go wrong, I have frustrations, I have losses, same as anyone else, but it's all part of the adventure, it's all part of life, it's all part of the experience. And gratitude's kind of like that. It accepts that things can be bad and things can be good and things go right. It doesn't resist or reject human experience.
Gratitude does a lot of good. It often feels good to us, and it feels good to the person that we're thanking as well. And gratitude may also help us to make peace with ourselves.
Grateful for a lot of things: family, friendship and good times and happy memories.
I'm thankful that I'm here. There's a lot of people that are not.
I'm grateful for my 5-month-old little sister Lily. I'm grateful for life.
Happiness is a state of mind and the positivity is a way of thinking, so I'm just thinking about the good things, yeah.
In terms of where do we go in the future, actually 78% of the British public that we sampled said that they wanted to see more effort be spent on promoting gratitude. And the two contexts in which this seems to be most important are the workplace and in schools. So this could see gratitude being built into wellbeing initiatives in the workplace perhaps, or in gratitude lessons in schools. And this would allow students to explore when gratitude is appropriate and when it's not.
We must be careful about one thing, however. Not all gratitude is good. So although ingratitude is a vice of deficiency, there is also a vice of excess, which we could call excessive or indiscriminate gratitude. And gratitude of that kind should be avoided because it can promote codependency and a servile attitude towards others. It's the attitude of the grateful slave towards the slaveholder. In other words, gratitude is only a moral virtue when it's felt towards the right people, at the right time and in the right amount, neither too intense nor too slack. And it's medial or proper gratitude of that kind which should be promoted in schools and in society at large.